Hello, everybody. We're back. It is 2020. Can you believe that? I remember when I wanted to party like it was 1999. So, Dee, I see you still got your Christmas tree up. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the hat now that the new year is here? Tell us a little bit about your holidays and how you got through that. I know you were a little bit not feeling well.
Yeah, I didn't really embrace the Christmas spirit this year. I didn't make what I really wanted to get done a priority, and so it didn't get done, and then I was super grumpy about it. So good last put what's important first and get it done so you're not grumpy later. So I was a little bit of a crybaby right after Christmas.
Well, you know, the holidays are one of those times where we cannot predict what's going to happen, and it's different for all of us. Sometimes the holidays are when we miss people. Sometimes they're very celebratory. I always encourage everybody to let the past go into the past. So we've started the new year, and kind of one of the things I've been focusing on personally is just consistency. So, you know, I think we get really caught up in having a start time. January's the start time, or the beginning of the month's the start time, the first of the week's the start time. So, you know, not being tied to a start time and just finding that consistency, because this is real life. And that's why, you know, it was interesting because we've got some new support groups out there, and I'm gonna pop this up on the screen here. There is Ideal Protein has a new protocol, and of course, you know, one of the things to know about what Dee does in creating her recipes is, yes, Dee and I are both Ideal Protein coaches, but we also coach people on just life and living and maintenance. So someone had put a message out there that, you know, low carb living was not Ideal Protein. Oh man, it's absolutely real life and real living, and that's what we do here. So Dee, you know, let's talk just for a second before we get onto the amazing savory recipes. We have this Ideal Protein has a new logo and a new motto, and it is called Powering Life Possible. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, at first, the circle and the diamond threw me off a little bit. I thought it looked quite techy and not so much in the health industry. But the Powering Life Possible has really caught on for so many reasons, and actually since reading that statement that I can connect it to so many people that have come into my life over the last 5 years as a coach, to see what has become possible in their lives, in their hopes, in their dreams. And we truly have seen clients that were knocking on death's door, not having any mobility, any quality of life, now climbing mountains, kayaking rivers, flying all over the world. They can fit into an airplane seat, you know, all those kind of wonderful things. So they made the decision basically to attain any and all possible goals, and they're doing them. And so I think it's great. I think it's something that a lot of people will be able to identify with, and possibilities are endless. So it's a great place to start.
Yeah. So if you are looking to get some, you know, in a place where there's a lot of Ideal Protein coaches with great advice on what the new phase 1 protocol is, and we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. This is the Facebook group you want to belong to. So I hope y'all will jump over there and join the group. And you do have to answer some questions. So things to know, the low carb cooking ebook. So we have 2 ebooks that are on dsrecipes.com that Dee created. And the low carb cooking book is all about just no IP packets, all about just real life
I just
living.
lost Renee.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
I don't know
Dee.
if you can all hear me because I can't see the comments. So I have no idea if she's still talking, but hopefully she will be back.
So if you can,
We'll
you
just
guys
give
hear?
her a minute.
Can you guys hear both of us, or just Dee? So I think can somebody pop up and
Maybe we just
let us
lost
know?
her in the picture switch.
No, I don't think so. So let's see what's going on here. Are we
Here she
there?
comes.
Can you? Yeah, I could hear you the whole time. Were you not able to hear me? Are you there?
We might have a little bit of a glitch in our connection. I don't know if you can hear me or if you can hear Renee right now. And I can't see any of the comments, so
Okay, so
we'll just give it another second here.
all right, hold on a second. Let me do the high tech thing and send you a message. Everybody can hear both of us. Oh, now you're not down. Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, Dee, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we could hear you the entire time.
Okay.
and they can see both of us. Okay.
Oh.
So anyway, let's talk real quickly then about the dinner book. This is just protein and veggies. And then we have a baking book that has lots of packets in it. You can bake with it and all that good stuff. So all ideal protein compliant. Okay, so let's pop this down. Let's talk about this week's broadcast. And Dee, let's tell us what this amazing soup is. And this time of year, we all love something warm.
So this is a very traditional leek soup. So it is usually made with potatoes, and I have subbed in turnips. And really, truly, other than butter and potatoes, the base recipe stays the same. So instead of butter, I chose to use olive oil, and instead of potatoes, I chose to use turnips. Got some echo here.
So, Dee, there was a time when they took leeks off. So let's talk for a minute about why leeks are back, or tell us what you could sub in here instead of leeks, if you know.
So, well, in this recipe, I wouldn't. This is definitely a leek soup recipes. Makes this soup fantastic. There are lots of different ways you can approach the texture of this soup, though, because you can blend it down and make it creamy, or you can blend half the batch and add it back into the other half so that it's creamy but with some texture. You can also blend in a pack of potato puree if you were looking to use a lunchtime packet within that soup. Your leeks are on your occasional vegetable list. That's where they've been added back into. And all your options on your occasional vegetable list are a maximum combination of 4 cups a week. So you can't have 4 cups of tomatoes and 4 cups of leeks and 4 cups of squash and 4 cups of Brussels sprouts. It's a maximum 4 cups combined per week. And so get your meal prep and planning done and decide where you're going to eat them, how you want to spend those yummy vegetables, and make sure that you journal them. So, but a recipe like the leek and turnip soup is really versatile. The recipe is made with 4 cups of vegetables, so you can split it into 2 servings or 4 servings and just have a 1 cup side serving of soup with your lunch or supper, and you just use up 1 cup of vegetables per serving. As I said before, you can blend in a packet of potato puree, really delicious, or you can just leave it as is. So it's quite cool for a low carb recipe. Very little alterations had to be done to this recipe to make it both low carb and IP friendly.
I love it. So if you love soup and you want more soup recipes, send us out a thumbs up. And before we get on to the next recipe, I want to say hi to a couple of people. Josephine, hello, from Cloverdale Pharmasave, and Shelly, hello. Cynthia and Deb. So, you know, if you are on here, we love to hear from everybody. We love a hello. We love a thumbs up. Angeliki coming in from Halifax, and Ellen is coming here from Richmond. So tell us where you're at. Tell us what you like. In the new year, we have so many recipes from the past basically year and a half. So all you have to do is look in the videos and under the tabs and in the photo albums, and you're going to see a lot of recipes. Now, something that is a little bit new this year is we are not, Dee and I are super busy, and we just don't have the resources to put out the newsletter that we used to put out. So unless somebody out there wants to volunteer to do the newsletter, Dee is going to come back each week and enter the recipes as she's able to do that. So Dee, tell us a little bit. I see some rhubarb in here, which I absolutely love. So tell us about this.
So this is a rhubarb and cucumber salsa. So a really simple salsa, really fast, quick, easy to make. Frozen rhubarb is usually available to you all year round. If you can't find it, ask your produce manager or find out the person who manages the frozen food section so that you can get rhubarb in. It's an excellent phase 1 select vegetable. So good in so many things. We use it quite often, but it makes a really excellent tangy salsa. Simple, fast, easy ingredients. And the neat thing about the salsa is you can add additional lime juice and oil and blend it down into a salad dressing as well. So you can have it as a side dish, you can bake it with your protein, you can use it as a salad topper or a salad dressing. So really versatile.
Love it. Oh, salad topper sounds awesome. So let's say hello. Thanks, Darlene, for telling us Newfoundland. So, yep, love it. Tell us where you're from. And so our next recipe here, looking delicious. Now, who doesn't love? Okay, so this just looks amazing. Looks like something I would get at my favorite Italian restaurant, but it isn't.
It was so good.
It looks delicious.
And so easy. So one of the other additions to our updated phase 1 is the spaghetti squash. And I have a personal tip for spaghetti squash. So in this recipe that you see here, you roast your squash ahead of time. And I don't like mushy squash. So I tend to buy smaller spaghetti squashes, slice them in half, roast them face down, 400 degrees, 25 minutes usually maximum. And you'll see a lot of recipes, they tell you to roast for 45 minutes and so on and so forth. But the squash can become quite mushy. And I want more of an al dente squash when I'm using it as a pasta replacement. So once the squash cools, it comes out and it actually looks more like spaghetti if you don't overcook it. And then when you do a quick reheat, like you will in the shrimp scampi recipe, then they don't become mushy. They hold up really nice and have really great texture and hold the flavor really well. So that's my tip on roasting squash, the spaghetti squash, and I will put that in the recipe directions as well. And then the other game changer in this scampi is fresh basil, ribbons of basil in the finish with the spinach. Really is a difference maker in taste and texture. Mm-hmm.
Sounds delicious, and I think that a lot of people are really excited, even though it's only like in the occasional vegetables list. It's exciting to we've talked about spaghetti squash, and people have asked us for a long time about why they can't have that. So now it is added as an occasional. So that's exciting stuff, you guys.
Gives a little bit more variety. So especially that if you're somebody who does a yearly reboot or is revisiting the protocol because you want to give it a go again, a little bit of variety can be a nice thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice someone was talking about doing spaghetti squash in the Instant Pot. So I know that you could do that there, and maybe it would be a little bit quicker, although the Instant Pot isn't actually instant. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion. Okay, so tell us about this. This looks like my favorite spaghetti dish, again, from my favorite Italian restaurant.
So I'm really quite in love with roasted red peppers. And whether they're in my tofu dip or in a red pepper roasted soup, just a roasted red pepper sauce is amazing. And again, for phase one, really simple, clean ingredients, your roasted red peppers, tomatoes, basil, your seasonings. For my cream, I use just a little bit of the Walden Farms mayo. So if you are in maintenance, you can think about using real half and half cream, or you could use real Greek yogurt, or you could use cream cheese if you are a dairy, lover. Or you can stick to things like just a little bit of real mayonnaise. Using the Walden Farm mayo, this recipe keeps in true to a vegetarian protocol. There is no eggs or other protein sources in this recipe, so it is completely what you see pictured is 1 cup of roasted red pepper sauce and 1 measured cup of baked spaghetti squash. So in that serving, you've got half a cup of tomatoes, which are occasional, 1 cup of the spaghetti squash, which is occasional, and then half a cup of your red peppers for a complete 2 cups of vegetable serving. It's really filling. It is quite rich in taste, so it becomes a little bit more decadent feeling, which very often can heighten satisfaction because you do not feel like you're eating, protocol or healthy or diet. I hate the D word. I hate the D word because it's truly changing your lifestyle. And when you really enjoy your food, it's easier to change your lifestyle. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Deb told us that she's from Cocoto, Minnesota. So good to hear from all you guys. Dee is from Red Cliff, Medicine Hat, and she works at Red Cliff Pharmacy. Mm-hmm. I am from California and have clinics in Los Gatos and Palm Desert. So if you guys are snowbirds and you're coming to the desert, or you know someone that's a snowbird, we are always happy to help you here in our clinic. Just reach out to me. All right. So who doesn't love a muffin? If you love Dee's muffins, I want you to send us the donut emoji.
Awesome.
The pretend donut emoji. Tell us about the.
All right. So again, you can see the rhubarb in this picture. So of course you can kind of tell which ingredients I chose to work with this week. But really what I wanted to show you with this muffin today was that this is really a pancake recipe, but you can make it into a muffin. So this is actually our plain pancake. There is no egg in this recipe. You can make it milk-free as well. You make it as simple as the plain pancake. So I wanted to give you some options. So very often we get asked for, either things like dairy-free, protein-free, or meat-free, egg-free does come up once in a while. I'm an egg lover, so I have a really hard time baking without them, but this is a great example of how these recipes can work. We don't need egg white, you don't need eggs in a lot of them to make them work. So I can tell you exactly what is in here, and it is 1 pack of plain pancake, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. It is 1 ounce of milk or water, 1/4 cup of rhubarb, and 1/2 tablespoon of chopped your choice of jam in the batter, and then fill up your little mini muffin tins, and then put another 1/4 cup of fine chopped rhubarb and another 1/2 tablespoon of chopped jam on top. Pop them in the oven for 12 to 14 minutes, and you have a pancake in a cute little muffin tin, or make them as pancakes. So really simple. These ones are bursting with flavor with the chopped jam. And so this 1 packet makes 5 generous little mini muffins and uses 1 sweetener. So really simple, really easy. And then you can see in the picture, you can see the jam. So when I say chopped jam, it's the Walden Farm jams are really easy. You can put your whole tablespoon into the jar, put it on your chopping board, and just chop it up into chunks. And then it gives you the fruit bursts in your little muffin or pancake.
Ooh, that's awesome. That sounds yummy. Okay, so you know that my favorite picture is always the last one. And this just, we all crave, or at least, you know what, I got rid of dairy a long time ago. So if I can find a dip that I can use that's not, too crazy filled with stuff that bugs my tummy, I am in love with it. So tell us how we can make cream cheese vegetable dip, Dee.
Okay, so what you guys will maybe notice or flag already, this is a low carb recipe versus a phase 1 or 2 recipe. So this is a maintenance recipe. But many of our viewers they're through their protocol and they're in maintenance. So every show, we're going to try to give you at least 1 low carb maintenance recipe as well for your collection. Now this one does contain dairy. We will do some that don't contain dairy as well. So we'll try to cover all facets. But this one I actually did make over the Christmas holidays, and it's scrumptious, it's decadent, it's cream cheese, an 8-ounce bar of cream cheese with a 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of real mayonnaise. And if you use real homemade mayonnaise, it's even more decadent. And fresh mini sweet bell peppers and chopped cucumber and fresh dill, parsley and basil, a little bit of paprika, salt and pepper and garlic. And you mix it all together and you let it sit overnight to let the flavors marry. And it is decadent with your vegetables. And so it is an example of a maintenance fat, and it is very filling and very satisfying with those veggies. And so it actually intensifies the taste of your sweet mini peppers, and just goes pairing with fresh cucumbers. So awesome. So yeah, so it's a maintenance recipe. It's a simple one, great for any type of gathering, potluck, or even if you're on protocol, but other members in your family aren't, and they're getting sick of seeing your assortment of veggies all the time, make dipping those veggies enticing to them as well.
That's and a little bit healthier, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we are now at the always running a little overtime, but we are going to just talk for a few minutes about the new phase 1 protocol, and actually just the new protocol. So
Yeah.
I made like a little chart about what is kind of what has changed in the phase 1 protocol. So Ideal Protein is now a 3-phase protocol. They have changed the daily protein now. Now, mind you, in Canada, the daily protein is the same. So this is only changed in the United States. Daily protein of 4 to 6 ounces instead of 8 ounces. It's not a lot of difference, but for those of you that really struggled with getting all 8 ounces of that down, and each of us is different. If you don't have a big appetite, 4 ounces might be just fine for you. There's a few milk options that have been added to the phase 1 sheet. Previously, I think it was like 1 ounce of, was it skim milk, I think? And now you can remember that almond milk is 2 things, almond and water. So be careful when you're buying these things to really look at the ingredients list, and maybe Dee can touch on that in a minute. But almond milk, soy milk, of course, only unsweetened. So again, looking at that ingredients list. Avocado oil was added to the list. There's a few other seed oils that have been added. Both Dee and I kind of agree that they don't belong on our personal lists. Salmon and tuna that used to be only 1 time per week are now no longer limited. So you are going to have a smaller portion. They are fattier fishes. If you tend to have stalls, maybe you want to only do them a couple times a week. Cucumber is now a select veggie. It used to be unlimited. It's just, and again, Dee can talk on that for a minute. And then we have, of course, the shirataki or konjac noodles. And I think a lot of people were kind of misusing those. So it's very specific in that it is just 1 cup of those noodles. So Dee, do you want to kind of talk for a minute on the milk and the oils and that kind of thing?
Yeah. So really, they actually even added, 1 ounce of half and half onto your sheet. However, if you've been drinking black coffee or not needing milk or, sweetener in your coffee, I wouldn't change. I would keep that consistent. I do, though, like the addition of something like whole milk if you do use dairy, because it simply has less sugar than skim milk does. And that is one of the things that the food industry has over the last 20 and more years fooled people into. We take healthy fats out of things and we add sugar. And so whole food products are always the best. There is an actual selection of 10, I think there's more than 10 oils now for your dining pleasure. Again, we're not going to grocery shop for you, but just do a little bit of your own homework, because many of these oils go through a lot of chemical processing and bleaching to get them stable for shelf life and palatable. So again, my preference is to choose products that go through less processing always. So just my kind of little 2 cents there. They've moved jicama to the occasional list along with the leeks and the spaghetti squash. And although these options are here, all of these occasional vegetable selections are higher in carbohydrates. So really be mindful when you are in the losing phase to properly journal and do your meal prep and planning around those. Maybe if there are some items you really love, really concentrate on where you're going to use them in your week. And just be mindful of your progress when you're using them. I'm a fan of the konjac noodles. You know that because you guys see lots of recipes within them. And my personal take on those is to not have more than a serving a day. So whatever brand you're buying, make sure you understand what the serving size of a package is. You know, read your package. Is a serving size a third of that pack, a half of that pack? I like to go by those standards. They tend to have a lot of fiber in them. You do need to increase your water intake with them. It's very important. When you're adding that kind of pure fiber, they do not replace your vegetable consumption at all, but they're jam-packed with fiber. So we don't want you to have a tummy ache. So increase your water with those as well. As Renee touched on, 4 to 6 is now in the US protocol for FDA government standards, which I'm going to roll my eyes at because the government never made anybody healthy. We still can have up to, for our food regulations, we have to say you're still allowed to have 8 ounces. However, this is something to also discuss with your coach because the amount of protein you need is really based on your lean mass. So if you're a very petite, light person who has less lean mass on board, you may be able to safely decrease the amount of protein that you eat. Again, we can't tell you what that is. That is something that you need to discuss with your coach based on your actual biometrics. So if you have any questions on that, please ask your coach. Restricted is now optional. You don't have to have a restricted every day. In the old protocol, it was recommended to have one every day. So you may choose 3 unrestricted in a day. That is fine. They added capers to the seasoning. I don't know if that excites anybody, but if you do Mediterranean cooking, then that's a really nice seasoning as well. What am I forgetting, Renee?
I think they added 1 tablespoon or teaspoon of tahini. I can't remember what it is, but that's been added to the spices too.
Oh.
Yeah. I was surprised too. But anyway, you guys check in with your coach for all of that stuff. And here's what I say. If you're doing amazing, stay just the way you are.
They took cucumbers off the unlimited list. That is due to carbohydrate count. They found that it was being abused. And I know in our clinic that we actually I don't think we found one person that actually abused cucumbers, but it was really easy to abuse sweeteners and other add-on items that you become complacent and really comfortable adding in, and then you actually really forget about what you're really sticking in your mouth, gums and mints and sweeteners and sparkling waters. And if your sparkling water is flavored with something, there's something in it, right? So you have to count it as a sweetener, those kind of things. I read along like a lot online about, my coach says I can have sparkling ice. Well, 1 bottle of sparkling ice is actually 2 sweeteners. So there's not, lots of beverage add-ins. Just like before you're watching what you're eating, pop and sugary juices and those kind of consumptions, sweeteners kind of can mess you up a little bit too. So preaching hard on your journaling. And you know what, I don't care if you're a paper journal or you have a great app. I have a few clients that have a fantastic app, and I actually got one of my clients to put it on my phone for me today because I wanted to play with it more, because all the ideal protein foods are listed in there. And so IP has an app, but there's all sorts of platforms out there on how you can track your food, and you just need to find your favorite one that works the best for you. Some people love good old-fashioned paper, and that's awesome, but find what works for you, and don't be in denial about success and journaling, because it is 100% proven that it goes hand in hand for long-term success. You have to be really cognizant of what you are doing, and it's part of the protocol. So journal.
It is. It is. And I think the key thing, that we're not here to give you little tasks that are unnecessary. This isn't first grade. It's really about creating lifetime habits that will move on with you into maintenance, and that will keep you, on the road to success. It's all about, when even on my first meeting with a client, I am talking about maintenance. I'm talking about how we're going to change those past behaviors to make it so that you easily move into maintenance. And maintenance is a whole new animal with Ideal Protein, and working with your coach. So very important. Phase 2 has now become probably the most important phase of the program. So just talking to your coach about that. And I do have a video out on YouTube. If you would like to watch the phase 1 video, just type in the comments section video, and I will send you a little link to that, just so you can see my version. It's not everybody's version, but it's my version. So Dee, it's such a pleasure to get back to business and have some 2020 vision. And so we want to say thank goodness for all of you. Joelle says, oh my gosh, Joelle thought we were quitting the cooking show, but no, we were just on personal hiatus. So remember, Dee does this of her own free time, and I'm just the technical gal, but Dee has amazing ebooks. So remember, those are great resources. One of the things that you can do is Dee did print a book, and it has 150 recipes in it, and it's awesome. But the only way to get the printed version is to tell your clinic that you want them to carry it. So make sure that you tell your clinic. We need Dee's recipes book. It's super reasonably priced. It's about $25 retail. So make sure that you tell your clinic owners. And for all of you clinics out there, if you carry it, put a comment in the comment section, and tag your clinic in there so that people in your local area can come in and get the book from you. All right, you guys, have a super day and rest of your evening.
It's like Happy New Year.
I know, kind of. Yeah, I'm just glad to be back to real life.
Yes.
Okay, love ya. Mwah, mwah. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.